Okay, this is going to be a first. We have, first of all, want to thank Miasma for recording this match. This match was the one-loss side match between Mr9ball and Real Poland Power, which took place this morning as I speak. I saw the start of it, but I didn't see the end of it. Miasma has recorded it, but unfortunately we don't have audio from the game. Now, this is being live streamed to YouTube only as a test. I'm using Mirrorless Action and I am recording this in desktop window mode, so I can test a couple of things. The chat should be working. If anybody actually comes onto it, it should be. I don't know whether it is working or not, but I just want to test a couple of things. So we're in the first rack. Let me just see. Hang on a minute. Let me just mess with this. Right, that's better. And we'll do a little test. So this is the first rack from the match this morning. Race to 10. And it is 10 ball, of course. All combos and banks must be called. Mr9ball is hooked in the 1. I'll get rid of that mouse cursor. Now I wonder if I can go to... I'm looking to see where you can go to full screen in this. Let me try something. No, it doesn't do it with that. So from what I saw early on, Stub got off to a strong start. Mr9ball, very few chances early on. And Stub now with a chance to run out the first rack. And one thing I noticed, it seemed he was a wee bit more deliberate this morning. And from the shots I seen, he seemed to have better touch. Certainly in the first few racks. I think this is one that goes wrong slightly. He tries to stun across the 5, but he's a bit too straight and didn't get into it enough. And goodness knows if this is actually streaming to YouTube or not. I've just messed about and set it up, and hopefully it is working. Now that was a good shot. Bit lucky to get good on the 6 like that, but it was a good thin cut. That mouse cursor keeps jumping about the top of the screen. And this is where I want to swivel round to see what angle he's got in that 6 ball. I'm so used to doing it just to have a look. Obviously it was too straight, so I had to just leave the long 7. And of course the winner of this match was going to go through to play Spectre Dawn in the one-loss side final, and then the winner of that goes on to play Vinces in the tournament final itself. Wide open space to get the cue ball onto that 10 ball. Again, the touch looks pretty good there. Now let me just try something else here. I believe you can put text on the screen. And then I think you hit the cross button to get rid of that. And then of course you can mess about with the colours. So Mr9ball at the table with a chance. And there was one shot he played early on in the match, which is something that I do mention quite a bit in, particularly in 9ball, when a player makes a choice to play a push out, and how you have to think about what you're doing when you play your push out. And Mr9ball there, overcutting the 4, and an open invitation for Stubb to take the second rack. I don't think he's played the shot yet. I think it might be in the, I don't know whether it's in the 3rd rack or the 4th rack. We'll soon find out. And he's dead straight in the 5. I think this is the one where I was wondering whether he could squeeze that 6 ball past the 9. And he's looked at it once or twice. Because the only thing he can do here is come back the way or just kill it stone dead and try and leave the long pot. And this is a difficult shot. There is not an awful a lot of room past that 9 ball. I remember looking at it. So it ended up being a comfortable start for Stubb, and not the start that Mr9ball would have wanted. And that's a good shot. Pace is very good. And this is going to be 2-0. And the other thing I noticed, and certainly I didn't see any in the first few racks, that earlier on in the tournament, Stubb was calling the 10 ball in the break, but today he didn't bother by the look of it. And Mr9ball calling a safety here. Now I thought with this shot, and let me just try and get my little arrow, I thought he could have tried to, wrong one, wait a minute, hang on. I thought he could have tried to come down and get in behind the 8 and 9 with a bit of inside English, but he didn't fancy it. And this is where Stubb gets a bit of good fortune here as well. With that kick in the 1 ball, he's left Mr9ball, I think, behind the 10. I think he... Or can he see it? I can't remember whether he could or he couldn't. He must be able to see it. He dug the jump cue out there, I think. Now at this point he's in pretty good position. He's got plenty of room to just leave the cue ball on the left hand side for the 3. And then I think the 4 ball's just above the 7 in the middle of the table there. I think that's the 4 ball. 8 ball up in the top right hand corner pocket. And he's got enough angle in the 3 to stun off the right side rail and come out for the 4. The problem ball being the 5, which is hidden behind the 6 at the top end of the table. And he plays a decent enough shot here, I remember, to get on the 4. And now I think he's got a slight angle in the 4 just to drop down for the 5. But I don't. The problem with this shot is he didn't go far enough with this shot. He wanted to be playing that 5 ball like that, and he's left it high. He needed to go up the table another 3 or 4 inches. He's just left this higher angle cutting the 5. But he's good on the 6. And now the obvious thing we get this shot is he has to get bottom side of this 7 to make it easier to get up to the 8. And he looks as if he's got there. And the problem ball, of course, is the 9 ball, which is on this bottom rail. And this is where it went wrong, because he's now straight on the 8 ball. Again, I had a look around the table when he went onto that 8, and he's dead straight on it. He's got no real angle to get up the table. He's trying to kick it off the rail and punch it in to get up to the 9, which was the only option he had. But he misjudged it, and he's hung up the 8 ball. So that was a chance gone there for Mr. 9ball. And it was a chance that, well, with the position he finished on the 9, he really should have been on the board there at that point. And now Stubb, again, this is where Stubb gets himself out of holes. Because when he runs ragged on his positional play, he's always very likely to try and pull something off. But this time, we went into this little kicking phase against a 9, and then Stubb plays the shot that you always should look to play, and this is where Stubb got it right. Mr. 9ball just taps against it again, but you have to look at the first opportunity to get distance between these 2 balls, and Stubb takes the opportunity to play the shot to get the distance, and that was the right shot. And when I looked at this shot, I knew straight away that Mr. 9ball was going to have to go for the reverse bank, and if he judges it wrong, it would end up double banking, and he didn't really go for this firm enough. The double bank was always on at the angle that he had, so you have to play this more forcefully to get it direct into that pocket. And again, it's just a misjudgment. Just hit it to the jaw, or just before the jaw, and of course it's double banked, which is a miscall. And that was his second chance gone in the rack. And now, of course, with the miscall, it's an easy enough 10 ball for Stubb to go to 3-0. And now the break back to Mr. 9ball. I don't know how he was feeling at the time, but he's made a couple of errors, and then his next one is from the break there where he's scratched, and straight away in rack number 4 Stubb has ball in hand. Now he's looking just to roll through for that 2 into the right middle, which is next to the 8 ball. And he's hit it short. He's underhit that one. And now he's just taking he's just riding his luck there to get position in the 3. He didn't get the luck, but he gets out the jump stick on this, I remember. And he gets lucky again. This is how luck plays a big part. He runs through and then he kicks the 3 ball in. And that's the sort of luck that you need. And the 4 ball, fairly easy enough down the rail. Angle to get the cue ball out for the 5. And then, of course, the 6 ball is blocked by what looks to be the 8 ball in the top left-hand corner. So there's still work to be done here. And then I don't know what he tried there. He obviously tried to... He tried to disturb those balls at the top end of the table, ended up hooking himself. Now this is a good shot. Not only from the fact that it's a jump shot, but his only real option on here was to call the 8 ball and play the billiard, which is excellent. This is a very good shot. I mean, it's not easy at all to judge the hit point on that 6 ball, but he plays it perfect. And then, of course, the 6 ball is in a very, very difficult position. The cue ball up in the top left-hand corner. This is another cracking pot. He cuts this 6 ball in. And this is really, really good. Probably one of his best shots that I've seen this year in the tournament. He's got the pace right, and he's got the cut, but of course the running has put him dead plumb on a bank on this 7. He had to go 100% for it because he was... Are they going to play the cut? I thought he was going to play the bank. Maybe this is where I went out the room. I had to go and get ready for work. No, he played the safe and he plays a snooker. It's like, that's the one. That's the one. That's another good shot. And of course, when he's already leading 3-0, he's got Mr. 9ball on the rack here. I mean, it's an easy jump to hit the 7. But how do you keep this safe? You've got absolutely no real shout over what's going to happen with both the object ball and the cue ball. So he decides he's going to kick the 7 and call the 9 just in case. But really only it's a hit and hope. And he just feathers the 7. And this is another billiard shot from Stubb. Little clip on the 7. And he plays it gentle enough to try and stop the 7 ball getting away. And I think it just goes out of line slightly here, if I remember. He's just looking at the angle off the 7 towards the 9. And he has to play it gentle enough so that he tries to prevent that 7 just escaping, but I think it gets away slightly, if I remember. Yeah, it just squirts out, and I'm not sure what the angle was, but it wasn't great on this 7 into the middle, and that's why he chose the bank. And again, he nails this bank perfect. Just trying to hold up the cue ball for the 10. And just a simple roll in the 10 ball for 4-0. Well, now the alarm bells would be ringing a bit for Mr. 9ball. Had to get a rack on the board. So Stubb breaking off in rack number 5. And this is a point where I had to go get ready for work, so I haven't seen any of this part of the match. And Mr. 9ball with a thin edge in the 1 can certainly pot it. And it just drops in, and he's got the weight pretty good as well on that one. And look at the table. First glance at the table here, everything's there. Again, I think he's a bit straight on this 3, but it shouldn't be a problem. Presuming that's the 4 ball there, just where his cue is. And at this point there was, what, 12 or 13 people, well, including the 2 players, in the room. Well, 14 now. So there's quite a few people get out of their bed this morning to watch this. Now that shot there has got him on the 5. He's kicked the 9 into play, and he's got a perfect angle on the 5 to come up the table and get on this 6. Now, the only worry I would have looking at this shot is that he's going to play the 5. He could be dangerously going close to the 10, and not only that, he's hung up the 5. So that was a shot where he was probably playing that with a little bit of right English there, and riding his luck that he was going to avoid the 10, but he didn't manage to do it. So that's another chance gone for Mr. 9ball. And now at the level of the tournament that we're at, it's difficult to keep that standard up, the standard where you're making very few errors. And Mr. 9ball has made a few. That one there has given Stubb his chance to go 5-0, and lo and behold, Stubb's first real mistake of the match, from what I can see, rattling up the 7. And giving Mr. 9ball a lifeline in the rack. Well, that was unexpected. No doubt about that. Again, nice pace to come right around. Leave the long straight. 10. Well, this is going to be Mr. 9ball's first rack in the match. And that's him off and running. Bit of a shaky start and a shaky rack, but in the end he got gifted the chance by Stubbs' mistake. And Mr. 9ball breaking off in rack number 6. And the break is dry. And he's left the cue ball very close to the 1, but I think it's dead straight. And Stubb could only go forward or back, so coming back he's left a awkward cut on the 2. And 3-ball on the right hand rail. And I think that 4-ball, I don't know whether it passes at 8. It looks very tight. He's looking at it. 4-ball right in the middle of the table at the top end there, with the 8-ball to the left of it. And he's pretty straight in the 3, so he can't really do much with the cue ball. Well, I think he's actually maybe locked himself out with a knuckle there by the look of it. He's run right into the pocket. Can he see the 4? Maybe he can. He's calling the combo in the 8, but I think he's just running for cover here. He might use the 8-ball as a stopper, but he might be corner hooked. I think he must be. Yeah, he's corner hooked. Now did he hit the 8-ball? Oh, he's actually got away with it. He's got away with it. I thought that was a foul, but he's actually spun and missed the 4, went off the rail and came back and clipped the 4 and then hit the rail. And he's left it not too easy here for Mr. 9ball. But it is now a chance to get his second rack on the board. Well, he's got an angle on that 8 to come off the left side rail and out into the table for the 9. He can draw back for the... Well, he looks as if he's drawn it now, but either or, it gets the job done. So this is going to be 4 racks to 2 now. And now the break back with Stubb for rack number 7. 10-ball goes in the break. And now there's the amazing thing, he never called the 10-ball again, and that would have been one where he could have called it and then we see what would have happened. And it gets respotted. The 4-ball's also in, I noticed. And he's got a good shot in the 1, around onto the 2, 3 out in the open. And then he should just be, I don't know how, he's going to have to run, he's going to have to run up the table surely, or try and draw into the side rail. He's going to have to really dig in to do that though, looking at the angle he's got in the 2. Well, he took a risk there. He took a risk there, and if he hadn't hit that 5, he would have been okay. And now he can run for cover, try and knock that 3-ball in behind the 8 and 9 and run down behind the 6 and 7 here. Well, he's gone the other way, but either way it's still a good shot. And now Mr. 9ball in trouble again, because the The table is ripe for a run out if he can't get a hit on this and get it safe. Well, he's got the hit, and how's his luck? I don't think he's got it. I think Stub can just see enough of this 3 ball. Doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball. The 5 ball's hanging over the corner pocket. And now this is all about pace. Cut the 5 in, let the cue ball run down the right hand side. Just past the middle pocket would be ideal. Well, he's a wee bit short, but he's still got a good angle to do either or here. He can come off the end rail and up for the 7 into the same pocket. And, well, now he has a straight choice. The choice would be to leave this 8 ball long, pot the 7, and just leave the 8 ball long between the gap. And that's what he's tried to do. Almost run a wee bit too far there, but I think he's okay. And maybe stun around the corner here or play it with inside English, whichever he prefers. If he stuns around, he needs to get around far enough to avoid the 10 and not block himself off. Or if he goes forward with a lot of inside, he can come between. Well, he's went around. Has he got the pace? I don't think he has he? No, I think he can. Well, he's just managed to squeeze it in. I don't know how tight that was, but it looked fairly tight to get that 9, but it's now 5-2. And that all came about from that safety by Stubb. Mr9ball managing to get the hit on the ball but couldn't get it safe. And so Mr9ball has broke off in rack number 8. And he has the 3 ball in the break but no shot in the 1. Unless he wants to risk calling a billiard on the 6 into the corner. Well, he hasn't called anything, so, well, he's now going to call something. It's difficult to work out what's going through his head here, whether he's trying to hit that 1 into the rail and then off the 6 into the corner pocket. But not really, he's just really looking for cover, and that's a good shot. But has he actually gone too far? He might have left this 1 on. I think he's left a 1 on. Now, Stubb, I don't think, can avoid hitting it. Now, I don't know what ball that is up there at the top end. It looks like the 8 ball. And maybe he can't see it. No, he can't. I thought he could see that 1 ball. He's looking to try and clip an edge of it off that short rail at the top end. Just missing the 8. He's not gone close enough. So here was a chance. Now this part of the match I've not seen any of it at all now, so I don't know what's happening, but we can see that Mr9ball has ball in hand. The 5 ball looks as if it goes past the 7, and he's just looking at getting position in the 2. So it's just going to be a roll up. Well, that's now awkward because he's on the rail more or less, and that gives you limitations in what you can actually do with the cue ball. And he's trying to avoid collisions here. You know, you might be able to pot the 2 and just skim past the 9. Well, that's worked out pretty good. Oh, so I forgot that was a 4 ball in the middle of the table. Or is it? This is awkward. Cutting into a blind pocket. He's running over towards a 10 ball. He's avoided the 10 and he's sitting dead straight in a 5. Now the tendency here is 2 choices again. You can draw back up the table with a danger of drawing into the 6. Or I don't know whether he's got enough angle to run forward. He looks as if he's playing the draw. Well, he hasn't got into that. He's stunned it more than anything else, but not stunned it far enough. So now he's out of shape. He's got a very tough 6. But again, total focus on a 6 ball. And that's a good shot. And plenty of room to get up for the 8 here. He can go forward again with a bit of check side. Oh, he didn't want that though. That's left him at distance. He's run into the 9. So it looks as if Mr9ball is going to get another one back. It wasn't straightforward, but he's pretty much got the job done and getting it back to within 2. Which at this stage in the match, when you've started the match and you're 4-0 down, if you can get to this stage and you're only 5-3 down, that's still not a bad position. It's still not a disaster. You're still well in the match. And Stubbs broke off in rack number 9. And the break is dry. And there's a shot in the 1 here. But it is not easy. And the other problem I can see is, provided that is a 3 ball, it's locked up behind a 6. So there's nothing doing there. Well, it's a good shot in the 1, but he's now got no shot in the 2, although I think he can see a feather edge of it. Or maybe not. Looking at it from the top view there on that picture, it doesn't look like it. It looks as if it's going to be a bit of left hand spin and try and kick the 2 ball. And that is a good kick safe. That is a very good shot. And Stubb can see the 2. He can see an edge of it. And he looks as if he's going to go for the real thin cut here. This is going to be a Stubb blast. And maybe, I don't know if he's getting any spin on it to try and skim in towards that 6 and 3. Well, he was too thin to be able to do that. But now, if he plays this right, and I don't know whether he's got the angle to do it, to try and just run into the 3 and push it past the 6. Well, that's a good shot. He's played that well. I don't know. Again, not being able to get behind the shot. It's difficult to see whether Mr9ball can hit enough of the 3 just to punch it up the table and leave the cue ball behind the 6. Well, the answer to that is he could. So this rack is very much up for grabs here, with Mr9ball still in with a chance of getting it back to within 1. And Stubbs kicked. He's hit the 5 or the 3, whatever it was, and he's scratched. So now Mr9ball has ball in hand. And, well, if that is the 4 ball over there, he's got ball in hand with the 3 to drop in behind it. And this is where, with this shot, he's going to have to manoeuvre the cue ball around the table here, or draw back. But he wants to get, well, he's decided he's going to leave it long. And it's a long, fairly straight 5 with just more or less a roll in or a stun to leave him on the 6. And everything looks okay here. Again, lots of inside, but he's not gone far enough, and this is him out of line on the 7. And, well, he might just have to roll through towards the 10 and leave a higher angle on this 8 ball. Well, that's not too bad. That's better than I thought it would look. And that shot there is his poorest shot of the day. He was so focused on the 9 ball, he's forgot about the 8, and that is a bad, bad miss. That is a rack that, well, by the look of it, is going to get away from him if Stubb can get this bank. And in it goes. Where's the cue ball going? The cue ball is still okay. And so that is a rack there at that particular moment in time that should have went to Mr9ball. It should have been back within 1. And as it is, it's been gifted to Stubb. Although he had to call that bank. Still had to get the bank. And Stubbs taking his chance to widen the gap again. So he's now within 4 of the 1 loss side final with Spectre Dawn. And Mr9ball breaking off in rack number 10. Couple of balls have gone down at least. You know, 3 balls have gone. We've lost the 1, we've lost the 6 and the 9. He's got a thin cut in the 2, and he's going to have to leave here the 3-8 combo by the looks of it. And it looks like the 8 ball is going to the side rail first here. So he's going to have to make this. He's going to have to just cut that 3 ball slightly that way to make the 8 go that way. And he's played it well, but the 3 ball has gone tight. And this is tough. He's got to get enough pace in the shot to get the 3 ball to the pocket, and that makes it difficult in actually judging whether or not he's going to have a shot in the 4. Cue ball can get away here and back across the table, and he'll end up with a very thin cut. And as it is, he's overcut the 3, cut it away from the rail, and in the space of 2 racks here, the errors have come in. 1 error in each rack, which is costing them. And at the level that we're at, as I said, you cannot afford it. The opponents at this part of the tournament are at such a level that they're going to pounce. And it's 2 mistakes too many, unfortunately. This is just a little draw off the 7. He won't be doing anything spectacular with the cue ball, I wouldn't imagine. So this for 7-3. But it could have been 5-all. Very, very likely it could have been 5-all. But that's how it goes. If you just get yourself out of shape, those errors creep in. From what looking like it should have been 5-all, it's now 7-3. And Stubb is calling the 10 ball here off the 1. Well, this will be a good shot if he can get the draw off that rail and kick it in. Oh, there you go. There's the luck that's going to play, or has now going to play a big part in this rack. He certainly didn't plan to get the cue ball there. And now Mr. 9ball is looking just to lock up the 10 ball with the 8 here. Just try and push that 8 ball in behind the 10. Which is a good shot. It's much easier to sacrifice ball in hand and lock a ball up and then let your opponent try and run the table than it is to go blasting the cue ball around the table and just making life easy. Well, straight away there, Stubb has played a good shot from the point of view that he's broke out the 10 from the 8. And now he's going to have to jump to get the 2. Well, he's jacked right up on that cue ball, and that's way too much. So Mr. 9ball, unexpectedly here, has ball in hand. And Stubb breaking out that 8 and 10 ball has done Mr. 9ball a favour. But can he get around for this 6 ball? A great angle on the 5 to go forward. I mean, you can go that way and come down. There's always a danger that you're going to be interfering with the 8 and the 10 ball. But he's played it well, and he's got there. I think, though, he's actually a bit too straight in this 6 again. He's going to have to skim the 6 in and go forward and run possibly between the 10 and the 9 here. But he's going to have to force it. Going to have to get plenty of pace in the cue ball to get it moving. And maybe try and pinch a wee bit of an angle here. I think that's what's worrying him slightly with this shot. Well, he's digging in. Well, that's actually much better than I thought he was able to do there. He was pretty straight, so just managed to get the little draw. But now again, he's going to have to try and maybe pinch something because he's finished dead straight in the 8. I mean, you can't get too greedy on those type of shots, but he's managed to create the angle with a spin. So this, to get another one on the board. And now back to trailing by 3. But it could have been, I mean, at this point, at this point, barring for those 2 errors in those racks, Mr9ball could have been in the lead. He could be 6-5 up right now, believe it or not, if you remember those 2 racks. And you know, that's what Mr9ball needs to remember after this match. That if he looks at the video, he can see those errors that he made and how the score could have been so much different. Right now, the score should have been 6-5 to Mr9ball. Well, he's got a very thin cut on the 1. 5 ball looks as if it's pretty much tied up with the 10, just where his cue is. Now, I don't know what he's looking at here. Is he looking to bank the 1 and clip the 9 in? Or is he looking to cut the 1? He's looking to play the cut. And he's overcut it. And now this time, I have no doubt Stubb will be using the jump stick. He certainly can't pot the 1, but he might call the 2 and try and play the billiard onto the 2, or the combo onto the 2. He could do that. It'd be a bit ambitious, but it's probably worthwhile calling it, because I don't think he's got really much say on how good the safety would be after playing a jump shot. Well, I think he's just looking to get distance, but he's misjudged it. 1 ball didn't go near the 2, and now Mr9ball has a problem to deal with. We've now got the 5. What looks like the 8 and the 10 all gathered together there. And Mr9ball on the 2 with an angle to get out onto the 3, but he doesn't want to get out too far. He wants to leave an angle on that 3 to try and get round. Well, he's gone far enough out to the left, so now he's got the angle to pot the 3 and send the cue ball over behind the 10, the 8 and the 5. And at worst here, he should be playing a good safety here, locking the cue ball up behind the 8 and the 10. If he can't get anywhere near good on the 5. Oh dear, well, I don't know what he tried there, because if you look at where the cue ball is, there was no way he'd have shot in the 5. So that's a strange shot. And Stubb managed to somehow miss the hit on those 3 balls. Well, there's a strange one from Mr9ball there. Why he got the cue ball into the middle of the table and locked himself behind a 10, I don't know. Well, tell a lie, that's a 4 ball. My mistake. I'm forgetting that was a 4 ball in the middle of the table. Well, now Mr9ball has a chance. He has an option to call the bank here on the 4, or just play a safety in behind the 5, the 8 and the 10. Well, he's playing a weird one here. He's trying to clip the 4, bank off the side rail, and push the 8 and the 10. I think this is a bit ambitious. You've got to play the safety behind the 5, the 8 and the 10, surely, with this shot. Yeah. Oh dear, I think he split them. I think he's left a gap. Don't know whether it's a gap big enough for Stubb to be able to find the potting angle in the 4, but I think he can get to the 4. Well, that was A bit of bad luck there with the safety to just open up that little gap, that little window. Well, maybe it's a lot tighter than it looks from here. Well, now there's 13 people in the room, 15 including the 2 players. Well, he had to play the jump, and that looks as if it's going to scratch. So Mr9ball has ball in hand and an easy opportunity to get up the table onto that 5. So he's going to roll it. Well, ideally he would have rolled it into the middle, but he's going to have to roll it long and just roll through far enough. Now I can see a problem here straight away. He has to get this 5 and avoid hitting the 8. He has to get the cue ball down here for a shot in that 9. And he obviously didn't have the angle, and now he's got himself can he get himself up the table? Yeah, he's got it. I think he's still the wrong side of this 9 slightly, but he can tweak it in with a bit of left English. So this is Mr9ball. Now again, there's 11 racks been played, and Mr9ball, had he won those 2 racks, he could now be 7-5 up himself. But it's 7-5 to Stubb. That's how close the match is when you compare those 2 errors that Mr9ball made mid-match that cost him those 2 racks. It could be actually the opposite score here. But again, you know, Stubbs obviously talks a good game from the point of view that he's going to win and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. From what we've seen so far, he's getting by. I think Stubbs going to have to raise his game to another level if he's going to survive the 1 loss side and get to the final. But at 7-5 up now, he's got a wide open 6 ball, plenty of pace to get up the table for that 7 down the left rail. He needs to keep running. I mean, there are signs that his touch is a wee bit better on certain shots. But he's going to have to dial in that positional play a bit to a bit higher level, I would say, to be consistent enough if he's going to go all the way. But he's now got it to 8-5. And of course now Mr9ball's running out of racks here. And he's also running out of errors or unforced errors. He cannot afford them. But he's got the break, and he's got the 2 ball, the 5 and the 8 have all gone. Now he's got the 1 into the left middle. He's got a straight in 3, in which case now the 8, that's the 4 ball on the right hand side there, so he's going to have to work the cue ball here, and that needs to come out behind the 4, which it has done, and that's a good shot. Plenty of room to get around into that area on the 4. And now, of course, anything but dead straight on the 9. That's all he's looking for. So he can... You see, that shot there by Mr9ball is a sellout. I mean, he didn't go through with the shot at all. He's left himself miles away from the 9. And that, I'm afraid, is 1 error too many. That really was, that is his worst shot of the day, that one right there. Now that is severe. And that is gifting the rack to Stubb to take him to the hill. So there's been those errors, and they've been costly, because every error that Mr9ball has made has been duly punished. And that's how severe it is when you get to the deep end of a tournament. You're going to come up against guys where you cannot afford to make those errors and expect them to hand you anything back. They're just going to put it away. That might be playing in his mind, that shot. Certainly would be with me, that one. And this table here, again, wide open. Now, if we look at where the 7 ball is, it looks as if the 7 goes past the 9. And the 6 is here. So he just needs to get out, and he's a bit straight again. He's just gone a bit straight on this 6. He's managed to get the cue ball out, and now he's just going to have to dig in the 7, and he's going to have to dig in far enough in the cue ball to avoid going anywhere near that left middle pocket. And he's missed the 7, and he's got lucky, but it's another error, and they're all coming at the wrong time for Mr9ball. And Stubb is looking to kill the kick on the 7, pick a point in the rail, and he misjudged it. Well, he's left a shot for Mr9ball, and this is not easy, but you've just got to go for it 100%. You've got to have a shot in the 8 ball after this. And now it looks as if Mr9ball's getting his second bite at the cherry here to get back within 3. So now Mr9ball breaking off in rack number 16. And we've got a problem here. Oops, wrong thing, hang on a minute. Where's my arrow went to? We've got those balls locked up there more or less. Although the 5 ball, you can certainly get a split on the 7 and 8 by running the cue ball into them from there. Well, Mr9ball calling the billiard onto the 10. It doesn't look on from there, it's too thin an angle. And the 10 ball's off the rail. Now what kind of damage is he going to do here with the balls? Well, he's tried the billiard, but say it was very slim odds that was going to go in the way the 10 ball was sitting. But this here could play a part because it's an easy safety if you can't get the split. Well, Stubbs on the 4. He's going to call the 10. And it will be this for the match. And in it goes. So the split didn't need to be made. Stubb wins the match by 10 racks to 6. And I will just sign off. Like that. And that's my autograph. And that is it, folks. We will see you again soon.